land warfare, you roll out, all good, San Clemente Island. When you went through, did you graduate from Buds? Like the big graduation from Buds? So you had the big ceremony and the big flag and all that stuff for graduating from Buds.
Yeah, we did Buds, and then the SQT where you got your Trident, because we got our Trident SQT. Yep. That was the private ceremony at the SQT building.
Yep. And they give you your bird. And so now when you get done with Buds, they basically like you hit the surf, they give you a certificate that says you graduated, and then you go to SQT. There's no ceremony whatsoever. Now it's you graduate from SQT, and it's a big ceremony with the families and all that, the big flag and all, and you get your bird that day too.
Yeah.
Which is different than it used to be. So how was SQT?
SQT was actually good. By this point, once I got out of Buds, like I kind of figured it out. Like I grew up, I don't know what clicked. Buds was a hard run for me. Like again, I was immature most of the time. Like there's stories Leif can tell you where, like I said, I think the most angry I've ever seen Leif was when I made him angry. And I know I've told you the story before, like in second phase. And
oh yeah, you like somehow took his life jacket.
I took
He's looking for his life jacket.
100%. I told him I didn't have it, and then we were late, and that was the only time he's ever like got super pissed at me. Left, was so mad to came back to yell at me again.
Dude, I remember angry Leif, dude. I mean, you're like, oh, Leif's really calm. Like, dude, he's calm now. He would have a temper for sure. That. You know, especially like something goes wrong and, you know, because the thing is Leif cares about stuff, you know, and when you care about something and it's someone's doing something that's counter to what you care about, like you're going to get pissed off and frustrated and, you know, nothing crazy, but like I definitely, you know, I would give him shit because, you know, his poker face, like we'd be talking to the boss or something like that and the boss would say something and maybe, you know, maybe it wasn't the best idea or something. Or maybe he was going to negatively, like, we're going to have to work, I don't know, we got to stay for the weekend or something. Or it just didn't make sense. And you could see, like, Leif's face would just, like, start going red. And I'd be like, we'd walk out, I'd be like, bro, your poker face is terrible. He's like, oh, man, well, that's bullshit. Like, that guy, yeah, this doesn't make any sense. I'm like, I know it doesn't, but, like, let's figure that out outside. So I always gave Leif a hard time. And you know, to this day, we joke about angry Leif. Yeah, so I can imagine angry Leif visiting upon immature Matt. You know, if I was going to talk about angry Leif, I'd have to talk about freaking immature Matt, which is definitely another character in this whole jam.
Yeah, they went hand in hand.
Oh, freaking awesome! But no challenge or anything at SQT.
No, honestly, SQT went fine with the exception of one thing. When we did SQT, we had like this big land warfare. And we did it with a buddy first. And then I remember...
What do you mean land nav?
Land nav. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yep. Land nav. And so we do land nav. And I had my buddy. And I was pretty good. I picked it up pretty quick. And so my buddy just kind of followed me. And I was running it all day. And it was fine. He let me and I wanted to, right? And so it was not a big deal. And then the next day was by yourself. And so... And I just blew it out. Like I found almost nothing. And the whole day before, like I was crushing it, like terrain navving, not using compass sometimes. I was just walking into these. And I mean, it's literally a stake in the ground. You know, like you can't see it. It's a very small thing.
Were you guys in Alaska? Or
no.
Were you in
Laguna.
Yeah.
And I almost found nothing. And so the SQT guys are like, oh, we found your weakness. Like, you're not able to land nav. And I literally couldn't figure it out. And then I remember in the spot, he's like, Matt, go find this point right now. And I couldn't find it. And it was supposed to be like 30 feet away. For the life of me, I couldn't find it. And I was like, oh my God, I did it again. Like, I can't figure this out. So the next day comes, final land nav test. Crushed it. Like,
what, you just had like an epiphany?
No, I don't know what happened. To this day, I do not know what happened that day. I don't know if I messed the declination up on my compass.
Okay.
And I was kind of, a few degrees off in anything. But, I do my thing. I make sure everything's solid. And I mean, I moved through that thing because I was like, what if I don't find I need extra time? And I was done by like 11 a.m.
Running.
Yeah, crushed it. Like, no big deal. And they were like, oh, I guess you figured it out, Matt. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, sure, I'll take it. Like, whatever makes me a Navy SEAL, let's do it.
So then you end up going to Team 3.
Yep.
How many guys from your like SQ, was it a pretty good crew of guys? Was it like 10, 15 guys going to team 3?
I think it was like exactly like, I think 14 or 15.
Yep. And did you go right into a platoon?
Yep. I immediately got to team 3, got immediately put in Charlie Platoon.
And Charlie Platoon at this time, the crew that you had in there, dude, your platoon commander is a freaking epic dude, just an epic dude, and like a maniac, just a maniac, awesome in the best in like the best positive way, just like a maniac, stud athlete, just a freaking awesome dude, and a maniac. Your platoon chief is like another maniac. And again, I mean that in the best possible way. And when you have, so normally in a platoon, and they set them up this way on purpose, like when you're organizing platoons at a team, you'll be like, oh, I've got Echo Charles. He's wild. And I'm going to put him with Matt because Matt is, more straight and narrow. And you pair them up. We're like, and you do that, try and do that with everything. Like, Echo's really good at land warfare, but Matt's really good at CQC. So we can put them together. Matt's deployed to Iraq a bunch of times, but, Echo's deployed to Afghanistan. So we put him. So that's what you do. You're building like a complementary platoon. And there's checks and balances too. So you end up with like, a guy that's a little bit more, let's say, tight and a little, Boy Scout and Hell's Angel, right? You want a Boy Scout chief and a Hell's Angel OIC, or a Boy Scout OIC and a Hell's Angel. So, you just kind of put it together. What you had was freaking Hell's Angel in that platoon. And so how was that rolling into that?
Dude, it was, and I thought all platoons were like that in the very beginning, because I was like, it was all throttle, all gas, no brake.
Yeah.
Like it was, because the OIC, he was the first officer I said, 2 full sleeves, covered in tattoos, and like unlike any officer I'd seen before. The chief he's kind of like, because a chief to a new guy, basically their dad.
Yeah.
But like, just no holds barred. He was either gonna, punch you in the back of the head or teach you exactly how to do it the right way every single time, and you'll never forget the lesson ever again. And so it was great. And then of course our new guys were like, you've had Bob Holland on here, Chris Kyle.
Well, those weren't.
No, I'm sorry, not new guys, the one platooners, which were absolute sadists.
Yeah.
And because they just got back from their platoon being a new guy, and they're like, oh, meat.
Yeah.
And it's like prison, like fresh meat. And you're there, you're like, hoo-yah, whatever you want. And so, it was phenomenal, like a fantastic platoon. And the funny thing is, I almost got pulled from it because I wasn't supposed to be in Charlie, apparently. I was supposed to be in Alpha. Mm-hmm. And Z got a hold of me. Z picked me.
Mm-hmm. Z was the chief.
Yes, Z was the chief.
We'll call him Z.
Yeah. Sorry. Freudian. He was the chief, and he picked me because I was a leadership challenge.
Yeah.
Like, I got good marks from SQT, but when Bud, they're like, dude, he's going to argue. Like, so he's like, hey, he actually wanted this leadership challenge, but they're like, hey, he's squared away, but you're going to have to do some work. And so he's like, great. And
he's going to put in work for sure.